Hello everyone, I am Renowned Zero, and we're back again talking about the Starfield controversy. We got some more stuff we need to talk about. We're going to go through a couple of things I think it's going to be very interesting for people to see. But just first and foremost, I'm going to say do not interact, communicate, or post about anybody that I show here in the video. I really appreciate it. Just leave all your comments in the comment section down below and we'll discuss it there. But first things first, of course, we're going to start off by showing that yes, you can still purchase stuff from the Rippaverse store, including the Rippaverse Comics hoodie, the short box, some posters, the comic shirts, hats, so on and so on. And for people that don't know, shout out to Raging Golden Eagle and Toxic Man Baby for dropping Blade Devil 2, Chains of Blood on Indiegogo. Now we've got the limited edition cover here, the summer cover, also 3 other covers that are there. So links will be in the description. You can go ahead and do that. You can either get the first book with this campaign as an add-on, or you can go over to this campaign and get, damaged copies if you like for reading. If you want to catch up on Blade Devil 1 earlier, rather than waiting for the second campaign to end, you can go ahead and pick that up here. Well, I want to show you something very interesting. After all the controversy, after all the talks about whether or not these pronoun options should be in video games, which in my opinion they shouldn't be, because you're essentially trying to cater to a very small percentage of gamers who are not mentally ill, who don't identify as trans, and most of the gamers, I say majority of the gamers that play are male. It's very interesting coming from the Starfield Reddit, right? Where this person is literally saying, I picked they them pronouns with a feminine frame, which is a look, right? I'm guessing body type 2, or body type 2, because now you can't call it male and female. It's body type 1 and body type 2 now, which kind of started in Elden Ring. And a masculine walk. Played about 25 hours, and multiple times characters have referred to me using girl/woman/she. Just disappointing. So it was essentially pointless, as we all expected. And this is the time where I'll say, as was right. It's interjected into the game for reasons, none other than ideology. So at the end of the day, even when you pick that option, because yes, you are forced and given those things in the character creation, you can switch it to they them, and it's all for nothing because they do not refer to you in that manner anyway. So it's essentially a waste of potential for better character creation options rather than this forced garbage that's in there. But we do have this video, a bunch of different people that are reacting to Az's rant. Shout out to Rippaverse Goalposts. Go follow them on YouTube and Twitter. I will have the links in the description. I'm going to take a look at this and I'm going to give my commentary on it. Let's get into it.
If somebody's actually getting this physically ill, physically upset over...
Az is not physically ill, or yes, and he's allowed to get physically upset because everyone's allowed to voice their opinion on the internet. Just like all you whiny, crying babies like to voice your opinion about how everything is sexualized and women are objectified in games and this, that, and the other. But when somebody expresses their opinion about something that they feel shouldn't be in video games, shouldn't be in your escapism, it's automatically they're mentally ill or they're wrong for doing it. Which I'm going to say, no matter how much you shame Az, he's just going to continue to grow. You can actually see right here, you see Organized Chaos has a live stream currently as I'm recording this video, talking about it, which he should be the last guy talking about anything about melting down, because he's still melting down over that debate he had with Eric July that he completely got crushed in. And just recently proved that, yes, Eric July did win the debate, which is no surprise to anyone, because anyone that watched that debate knew who actually won it.
Pronouns in a video game. I don't even think he got past the start screen or the...
Oh, yeah, he did. He's over 25 hours into the game. So, of course, once again, people do zero research when they talk about a topic. They do zero research when they talk about a topic, as usual.
Character creator, when he seen pronouns, he just recorded the video and just went crazy.
So fucking boring! We can't see past our own fucking reflection! That's the...
Again, you don't bring in the context, so you are talking about it, and you don't actually know what you're talking about. Yes, Az actually made the rant after going and talking to a character that was called a clone of a man. She was a woman, and was a clone of a man is when he made that rant. Because as always, people like to take out context or not include context at all, which is something that the Actman claimed later on in this video. We're going to show that later on, though.
The level of our narcissism here! It says the Western Game Company! Fuck your immersion! Fuck you having a good time! Fuck you falling into a world and just getting lost! No, no, no! Current fucking day! Fuck off!
He wouldn't be saying things like current effing day if he didn't play the game further past the character creation. That would have been the most obvious thing to notice. But of course, narratives have to be spinned in order to fit theirs.
You're boring! You're fucking dull! You have nothing to say! You are a one hive mind twat waffle!
And choice. And people just...
Now, this was an interesting one. Of all people that should be talking about weird and illness, a furry.
don't seem to realize that. It's just... Pronouns have been a thing for goddamn centuries, and it's... the fact, and just calling it just, oh, it's modern day problems. You're putting modern day things.
They are. Again, you're one of those people that doesn't understand the rest of what he said. You just focused on the pronoun part and not the part where he's talking about it being put into all forms of entertainment. And he's seen it in all forms of entertainment, considering he's in the comic space, he's in the movie space, he's in the video game space, he's in the pop culture space. So he's seen it all. Which is why it annoys me that people that don't normally talk about pop culture and video game news, right? They like to stick their head up and start talking about it when they know nothing about it and they don't want to stick to what they know. They'd rather talk about something that they have no idea what's going on and bring in no context, have no evidence for anything, and you just spew garbage.
So what do you want then? Do you want slavery in your games? Do you want gay bashings in your games? That's what you're asking for if you want the old kind of stuff, the old world stuff. Is that it?
There's a lot of things that have been in old games. I don't know, boob sliders, bob sliders. You know, those are things that are removed. Beautiful women are also being removed from video games. We kind of want that too. I'm pretty sure women want that as well.
That's it, isn't it? You want that stuff in your games. Because you don't want modern stuff, which is just...
No. He doesn't want modern ideological, political things in his game. No one cares about fantasy type of games, fantasy type of ideas. They care about modern identity politics type of things.
An RPG game asking you who your character is.
Not all RPGs are the same. Shout out to one of the greatest RPGs ever made, Chrono Trigger. Chrono Trigger is not the same as Starfield. Chrono Trigger is not the same as Baldur's Gate. They're all different. So no, you don't always create your own character.
You can't be that dumb. You can't be that dumb. You are that dumb, but you can't be that dumb because it's just... How do you have like a living kind of thing? That this is your job and like people watch you. How?
I mean, how do people sit here and watch a furry? That's a bigger question than someone ranting about having a passion for an entertainment media, an entertainment source. But people for some reason watch you, a furry. that should be a bigger question than someone just simply ranting over something they love.
Because you don't deserve it. You are you're
Oh, that's what it is. So he's more successful than you are. He doesn't deserve it. Okay.
so dumb.
Fucking hilarious to me that he is so mad about.
What's hilarious to me is how you think trans kids exist. What's hilarious to me is how much you talk about Eric July in a negative way. And you try to put down anything he talks about. What's hilarious to me is how you have a snack pack underneath your desk. And that was your gotcha when Eric was talking about his warehouse and how his warehouse operates. Let's not talk about what's sad when your whole entire life is sad.
Having options in a character select screen or character creation screen where you build your character. He is so mad about that. He is angry about.
No, he is angry about modern day ideology being forced into a sci-fi game that has nothing to do with it. And it's people like you that are upset that he's upset about it, yet y'all can't even answer the question of, if it's never talked about in the game, why does it matter and why is it there? And as I've already shown in the beginning of this video, even when they pick that option, they don't even refer to the person by that pronoun selection. So it's in there for no other reason than to be an ideological statement.
About something that is one of probably the most superficial parts of the creation process, that will help with an immersion in a single player game.
Do you even play single player games? That's my real question here. Do you even play single player games? Do you even play games at all? Because again, you are one of those people who likes to call other people grifters, and yet here you are talking about something you probably know nothing about. You should probably stick to terrible comics as your content, because you know nothing about this space whatsoever. I can guarantee that.
Like, he could pick whatever he wants. No one would know except for him. This isn't a multiplayer game. So that makes it even more hilarious.
I have a question.
I mean, your entire existence is hilarious. But now we're going to move on to Catboy VTuber, who's going to give us some insight on this rant next.
So, did he make it past the character creation screen?
Yes, he did. Amazing how 2 seconds of research would give you that answer. But again, these are the type of people that probably have never watched the guy, have known nothing about the guy, and yet you're sitting here making videos about it.
Did he open up his game, start it, and then it's just like he sees him, and he's just like, I'm gonna.
Again, you would know the answer if you actually watched his channel or knew about him.
A sound that makes it sound like balls are gargling in my mouth for the next 2.5 minutes, because I need to remind you that I'm very angry.
Also, if they didn't realize at the end of that clip, he actually returns back to the game right at the end of the clip.
Somehow, this is something for me to get very upset about. Very.
Because he's allowed to get upset about it. He's allowed to put his opinion, just like you're allowed to have your terrible opinion, honestly. Because you do zero research.
Be upset about. For no fucking reason.
Oh, there's a reason. Oh boy. I can't wait to hear what Irrelevant Mecha Random has to say. Dead channel of Mecha Random. By the way, when I go live, I get more views than she does. And that's really bad coming from a channel with over 57k subscribers.
You can be anything you want. You know why they ask you what your pronoun is in Starfield? So that the characters can know what you want to be called, just in case you're that one little teeny tiny percent, right? That one little teeny tiny percent who might want to be a chick with a you-know-whaty.
Which, like I've already shown you, they don't even refer to you as that. They don't refer to you as they, them in the game at all. According to someone who's actually played the game.
You know, with the thing, you know? This there's a lovely garden.
Okay, I'm not gonna allow you to suffer through this nonsense. Let's go back to the first guy. We'll skip ahead a little bit here.
But he threw on quite the baby tantrum there. And mind you, this is over pronouns. Like, just imagine if your girl walks in.
It's over more than just pronouns, which, like I've already said, you leave out the rest of the context just like everyone else who wants to report on crap, and you don't bring in the rest of the context. You focus on one thing and forget the rest of it.
After hearing you rant for like 5 minutes about pronouns, she's gonna be asking you, babe, what's wrong? Oh, I was yelling at a computer screen about a video game having pronouns. I can imagine
she'll look at his bank account and go, go ahead.
Imagine that conversation going over well very smoothly. It makes you look clinically insane.
I mean, looking at you, I don't think you even know what a vagina looks like.
Over here raging over like, it's not that deep, but
it's very deep. You're just not invested like he is. That's typically what people say. They're not invested in something that someone else is talking about. If you're not invested in it, you don't know anything about it.
Stoke the fire even more, my pronouns are he, him. And you notice that this is a calling card for a lot of these anti-woke people. They get so upset, so offended at something so little, so benign, that it's
because it's people like you that say, oh, it's not a big deal, it's just this little thing, and then it goes and grows and grows, and they keep taking more, and they add a little bit more, and they increment a little more, and then when it gets too far, you go, well, how did we get here? Well, it's because you didn't care. It's because you said there's no big deal, it's just this little thing.
It's almost ignorable. It's not even going to be something that comes up in review. Oh, I didn't like that the character creator had a pronoun out.
That's because most people who review this game are going to be biased, and of course they're not going to bring it up because they're not going to be they're not going to be anything but a paid shill who's not going to bring it up because they all, for the most part, most mainstream people, they agree with this. So of course they're not going to bring it up.
But because imagine like the world drying up for a guy like this. They can't be happy anymore. Like, it's genuinely quite sad. Like,
imagine listening to the guy. Imagine listening to a guy who has said things like this.
Like, zoophile, like drawn stuff, it should be 100% legal. In fact, and this is going to be a real hot take, I have yet to hear a convincing moral or legal argument as to why possession of child pornography should be illegal.
No one should take anybody serious for saying, after hearing them say something as disgusting as that. No one should take you serious. Not a single person on this earth should take you serious. I'm not even going to listen to what the rest of you have to say because that's all the context I need to not give you that time.
It's also
Fucking boring!
I have tweeted about this before, but I would say it's more boring when there's no gender and ambiguity, there's no unique character.
No, that makes it so I don't have to worry about it at all. They did this with Hogwarts Legacy. Didn't care. Didn't even notice. The game was great.
That express different gender identities. If it's just cis straight people, how is that more interesting than a queer character?
Stop. Stop it. Stop using that disgusting word cis to describe normal people who are just men and women. Stop it. Stop.
Or a non-binary character and learning.
There's no such thing as non-binary. You cannot be one gender one day and one gender another day. You cannot tell yourself, unless you're mentally ill, that you can not identify with a gender. That doesn't make sense. Stop pushing mental illness. This is the problem that people have with this pronoun nonsense.
More about them. How is no diversity?
I can guarantee. Oh no.
More entertaining.
diversity of thought is better than diversity for diversity's sake. Nowadays, diversity is just inserting black people or inserting Asian people into things in places they doesn't belong. We've had diversity in movies and video games for a long time. The Empire Strikes Back, which is a shirt I am wearing, came out in 1980. It had a character called Lando Calrissian. That was almost more than 40 years ago. And people like you talk about how we don't have diversity in things. Meanwhile, you don't see it where it actually is back in the day. There's been diversity in things forever now. They've had Star Wars games with Mace Windu in it. Star Wars Jedi Power Battles had Mace Windu in it. That's a black man, if I'm not mistaken. That is Samuel L. Jackson.
Than diversity. I genuinely do not understand that. Oh, it's because you...
Of course you don't understand it, because your brain is that of being lower than room temperature. The IQ of yourself just happens to be that of lower than room temperature. That's why you don't understand it. Let's go to the next person.
Online. But there's one, honest, a lot of it has already been pointed out online. But there's one particular...
Now right away you put your sexuality on your sleeve. Literally right away. The heart, right there. You immediately put it out there that these are the colors of what appears to be the bisexual flag. Right away, just forcing your sexuality on the people or putting it out there like it matters, like it's your whole personality. And that's the problem people have. Nobody cares what your sexuality is. You could be whatever sexuality you think you are. If you are a garbage person, you are a garbage person. And anyone of any sexuality can be a garbage person.
Part, one thing he says that I think really is the epitome of how stupid this guy's entire rage rant actually is.
We can't see past our own fucking reflection!
The irony is that the irony is you're wearing a hat with the bisexual flag on it. That's the ironic part about this part of the rant and what you're wearing.
That's the level of our narcissism here at Bethesda Western Game Company!
You're the one...
That's the very ironic part.
...who can't, or maybe won't, look past your own reflection or your own reality when it comes to this situation.
Again, your lack of self-awareness is you're wearing a heart that has the 3 colors of a bisexual flag.
Because games aren't just a form of escapism for people who look like you.
Again, these people act like you couldn't change the skin color of your character forever now. For decades, they've had games where you can change the skin color of a character you're creating. This isn't a new concept in Starfield.
They are a form of escapism for everyone. And finally, we're reaching a point where inclusivity in video games is actually starting to reflect that.
No, it's inclusivity of people that don't buy video games. They're just infesting it with ideological garbage and removing all escapism from video games. Those are what's being included in modern games, and this is why most modern games are terrible. They try so hard to get this huge audience, meanwhile From Software can throw out a game like Elden Ring, and all you babies cry about how hard the game is, when clearly the game's not for you, or get good, scrub, because let me let you know that not all games should be made for everybody, and not all games are made for everybody. And that's the problem with modern gaming.
Which is a good thing. The irony...
I'm just
Now I'm not gonna finish the rest of this video. I would like it if everyone would just go to Rippaverse Goalposts YouTube channel and watch the entire video, but because I want to get to something else before we finish up. Like I said, irrelevant YouTuber. Again, I always make this point. because it seems like that's who latches on to these types of things. Either people who are dying or irrelevant, or people that don't even talk about this space. This person. Woman that cried because she knew she was going to lose some of her rights. That she never lost, by the way, referring to this person. Versus guy that cried over pronouns in video game. I don't know, sounds the same to me, y'all. Again, this person never lost any rights under the presidency that she cried about. What Az is talking about is losing escapism in gaming. Losing escapism in entertainment. Losing escapism in comic books. Because all of the ideological, real-world nonsense being placed into these things. These are totally different things. I'm not even going to go through the quote tweets of this. We also have V, who says, it's basically making a point. It's just pronouns, bro. Why do you care about it, bro? Because hateful and unhinged weirdos have latched on into the gaming fandom, harassing women and people who just refuse to buy a game. This behavior is unacceptable, and we do not have to use our money to support it. This is also the second time it happens. The Wizard game was the first. If you cannot accept that other people can choose not to buy a product for whatever reason, you need help. And he's essentially screenshotting a post from Nina Infinity saying, I made a tweet about refunding Starfield because I was annoyed about the pronouns and because the game did not run well on my system. She does play on a PC. And for the past 4 days, I've gotten all these things here. Attacked because of my looks, called a pick-me, a phobe, and you name it. They're now on my Insta and YouTube comments, also commenting on completely unrelated things to try and gotcha me. All because I asked for a refund for a game. I never called for a boycott, which is what they did with Hogwarts Legacy, which is what these weirdos with pronouns in bio and anime profile pictures did with Hogwarts Legacy. They told people to boycott it because of some views that J.K. Rowling had. I never told anyone else to do what I did. I've always maintained that people should enjoy what they enjoy, and I'm told that I'm a snowflake that's made a big deal out of nothing. Who is actually making a big deal out of nothing? So she did have screenshots, she did have receipts, because someone did respond saying, do you have receipts? Saying I've been blocking a lot of people, muted the original thread because it became out of control, but I'm sure there are plenty of gems out there, but here are a couple. So she presented receipts, by the way. She presented receipts, unlike these weirdos on here with pronouns in bio that say, oh, they have PTSD, and they get these threats in their DMs. Meanwhile, same thing with actors. They say they get these things, and they never show any evidence. They never show any evidence. Someone like Nina would have receipts because she's better than them. We also have this person who wants to say, this is my favorite still from the meltdown, donating it to the wider community. Do what you will. You have terrible memes and a bunch of people talking a bunch of nonsense, calling as a thumb, and doing a bunch of photos you can smell, turning him into a crying baby, making fun of a man's appearance. Rather than attacking the argument, they decide to go after his appearance. To which I said, why is it for the most part all these dying irrelevant channels that jump on bandwagons looking for clout, trying to latch on to popular things in the world when their content has nothing to do with the subject matter in which they are trying to latch onto? And I showed this person's social blade, basically going down for the most part in views and subscribers. I've even looked up this person's YouTube channel, and they do like walkthroughs and playthroughs of video games, do nothing with anything regarding this. But last but not least, we're gonna get to the Act Man, who says today, people acting like I've changed because of my takes on Starfield discourse, but in reality I'm doing the same thing I've been doing for years. Defending the video game hobby from people who project their own agendas into these games in order to villainize them on false premises. Which somebody dug up, that he said this about the KOTOR 2, or the KOTOR remake, saying, please God, don't give Revan non-binary pronouns. He responds by saying, you have clearly found the clip of me talking about pronouns in the KOTOR remake, and yet you decide to post a screenshot of it instead of the clip instead. If you want me to take you seriously, you can't purposely remove context from things like this. Disingenuous AF. Well, you removed the context and didn't have the context for Az's rant either. However, someone went and did the work. Shout out to Moloch, who found this clip that we're going to show here real quick.
Please God, don't give Revan non-binary pronouns. Since Revan could be either male or female, the door is open, right? Why not add a third option? Well, because the entire game was rewritten and re-recorded to accommodate 2 sets of pronouns.
Okay, so the game was accommodated to 2 sets of pronouns. Okay, I'm hearing you.
That's a huge investment of time and resources. I guess it wouldn't be such a big deal if it's an optional choice.
So it wouldn't be a big deal that it's an optional choice. Okay, I'm hearing you.
I just think the effort should be spent making the dialogue that's already there better. Adding a third option is not necessary for more inclusion. Add more.
So the third option is not necessary for more inclusion.
Or romance options if that's what you want. I don't care if you
He says add more romance options.
personally want to be referred to as they, them, that's fine. But this is a story. This is writing. This is a video game. And if it's not grammatically correct, I will have an aneurysm. Half of KOTOR is the writing.
Half of KOTOR is the writing. Now, listen to this great point he makes towards the end.
You need proper syntax, okay? They, used to refer to 2 or more people. Them, 2 or more people.
So you understand that they and them refer to 2 or more people, and you understand the nonsense, and yet you sit up here and criticize as for it being there when you're playing as a single character. You understand it, but I'm sure people are going to be like, oh, well, this Revan is established as a male or female. Well, and this is just a no-name character that you're playing as in Starfield. Doesn't matter. The context still is. You understand that this is dumb, and yet you criticized as for criticizing that thing that you know is dumb. So I said, so the full hypocrisy comes out. He understands what the words mean, yet criticized HeelVsBabyface for making a rant over this. He understood how putting this in an RPG makes no sense. So this is the hypocrisy that people are not liking from the Actman. And again, like I said already, I like the Actman's content. I'm not going to stop watching the Actman's content, but I believe this is a terrible, terrible take that he had with this. And people have had terrible takes a lot, but this one was bad, especially when people dig this up from you. But I think at this point, I've gone on long enough. At the end of the day, it's usually the people with pronouns in their bio that are always telling people that you must refer to me as this, or you are a bigot or a phobe or an ist or whatever. And this is why people like Az call it compelled speech. Because at the end of the day, it's forcing you to do this. They want you to comply to this, and people are sick and tired of having to be told that they must comply to this nonsense. Thank you all for checking out this video. I really do appreciate all the new subscribers, returning subscribers, new viewers, and returning viewers. Check out the links below. Like I said, I'll have the links below to back Blade Devil, Rippaverse Goalposts YouTube and Twitter account. Subscribe for more content. Hit the bell for notifications. Set the bell to all. That way you get notifications anytime I post a new video. And I'll see you all on the next one. Peace.